you guys setting a precedent too. I mean, it's kind of like Black Rifle Coffee did with the coffee, but you see then a lot of veteran brands, or like, oh, like cool, like that's an option to go to, because I would never thought, what I should do, start a cigar company.
Yeah.
Back in, contractors.
Right.
Back in Afghan, I was a contractor from 2010 to 2013, and you saw the craziest ideas, like everything. It was really cool. Actually, honestly, it's like, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, hey, I'm going to go do filmmaking, but like, it was cool because no one had they're like, well, what can I do to make more money to get away from contracting? I'm doing t-shirts are a big one. Yeah. Everyone had their own t-shirt companies, but it was cool looking at the process of guys like how much the t-shirts cost. I'm trying to build a brand or whatever. And then you had, but I would have never at the time been like, what we should do is start a tobacco company, or like, cause it seems so out there. So like, or like a bit, you're not out there, but you know what I mean? Like at that time in 2010, 11, 12, like, holy shit, do I have to go buy a factory? Do I have to go, what I mean?
Yeah. Like, we knew nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
It was, thank God you didn't have to buy a factory.
I think some of that's the veteran entrepreneur though, whether you really lean into the whole, like, it's going to be military themed, or if you're just going to do the veteran entrepreneur thing, I think that comes with, I don't meet a lot of vets. Hold on. I don't meet a lot of enlisted vets that aren't gamblers.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurship essentially comes down to...
It's a gamble.
Are you a gambler?
Yeah.
And so whether it's... I mean, I sell fucking games, for Christ's sake. But, whether it's tobacco or booze or games or media or whatever it is, there does come down to this whole, like, well, I don't want a boss. And so I understand the level of risk I'm willing to take, which is to not have that boss,
which
is why I tell fart jokes for a living.
With the level of risk is the ultimate risk is failure, right? Yeah. But look how many times just the average veteran has started their life over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. You graduate
every 3 years.
You graduate high school.
Average.
You start over.
Yep.
You.
Because even going to a new unit when you were in, you're starting over.
Right. Well, look at it from
you got to
promotion.
earn your chops.
And then getting out of the military, you're starting your life over, right?
Yep.
And so, like my favorite veteran entrepreneurship stories are people who have failed, right?
Oh yeah.
Because I've failed several businesses. I consider them failures, right? Because I'm not still doing them, right? But then you hear the successful stories, and all of those guys have like, I failed at this, and this before this caught on, right? And so, I don't know.
That's always my argument when like people bring up like President Trump is a failed businessman. He's got a bunch of failures, and it's like, you've clearly never owned business. Like you've never tried, man. Like
exactly. I think that
there's a solid. Yeah. What would you say the percentage of failed business versus like in an average experience? Probably 80%, maybe 80-20.
I think it's 80% within the first 2 years.
Yeah.
They say if you can celebrate your third anniversary, that you can probably stay around.
It was like Nick with
Thankfully,
Warfighter
we just
Scuba.
celebrated our
I was to say congrats.
3 years, I think.
Yeah.
Warfighter Scuba Foundation for the nonprofit. They're like whatever, but he talks about that. Like one of his buddies that he's like, oh, congrats, and he's like, why? He's like, well, you made it.
Yeah. Well, most fail,
but I think it's
at this point.
The biggest trait that you see in it, though, it's the resiliency trait, and it is that whole, we do train to the point of failure. We talk about all that when you're in too. It's like, well, you train to failure. You train to failure. Even physically, it's like we're gonna train to failure. We're gonna do whatever, or it's going to be, hey, we're gonna put together this field op. We already have it rigged to where, as you're training for it, it is not gonna go according to plan. Like we're gonna make you adapt to the failure. We're going to push you mentally to the point that you want to quit, and then we're going to make you keep going. And that resiliency build in is when I think when you see veteran entrepreneurs, regardless of what they're hunting at it, I mean, like, it's been a little over a year now that you've gone pro.
2 years.
On stand-up.
2 years now. 3.
And how many rooms have you left and gone, well, that fucking didn't go as planned? Like,
I fucking eat dick all the time, bro. Yeah. Bombing's a part of life.
But at the same time, but it's like, but I've got 2 more mics tomorrow night. I've got another mic the night after that. Yeah. And, the level of resiliency it takes when you don't want to just clock in, have somebody go like, do this from 9 to 5 and then clock out and to go do it yourself. I think when you look at the veteran entrepreneur and their willingness to do that, it's that resiliency mindset. And if you go and look at what they did while they were in, you don't run into like a whole lot of like admin guys that get out and go
And
like,
do it. Yeah.
hey, I think I'm going to go start an insert business here. Usually they get out and they're like, oh no, I'm still human resources. I just work for this company now. And da da da. It's the guys that
I think it's also generational. Like, and you see a lot of that. Like, you know, like those of us, like we talk about all the time with that golden generation, you know, between X and millennial and all that stuff. We didn't get the participation trophies and all that shit. We had to learn how to fail. Yeah. We had to learn how to lose and to be good losers as well as good winners, right?
I have 'em.
You know, and newer generations don't have that kind of drive. From what I'm seeing, I see it out there because I see comics bomb all the time. I see young comics, young guys that bomb, and they take that shit hard. And I'm like, well, you've never failed before?
Right.
And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, it's because fucking mommy and daddy did everything for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's an obvious disconnect. And I think that goes across the platform, across businesses, across the world in society.
So-
you know, where it's just really is, there is a generational gap when it comes to handling failure.